Hey sisters, welcome back to HB Ministries, a ministry for you to believe, behold, and become all God's created you to be in whatever season of life. And so I love that. I say that all the time, in whatever season of life. We are all in different seasons. And if you join us over on our HB Bible study and resource page, it's kind of like a community Facebook page for Bible studies and just a faith community for women. And it's growing. Share it with your friends. But this is where we can kind of break down, put our guard down a little bit, and share our prayer requests. So humbling to know that we can use social media and not know anybody from anywhere, but yet we can lift up another sister, another wife, another mother who is struggling with their kids, maybe their husband, which we did have this on Facebook this week. Their husband was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. We can come together and pray for those seasons that are difficult for our other sisters, because in this world, we're all going to have tribulation. And let me tell you, I find ridiculous amounts of hope from other people praying for me. It is just amazing. So I do not take any of this for granted, and I thank you. If you are new to this channel, welcome. It is not by accident that you just came across this channel. Again, this is a faith-based channel. Every single month, we do a calendar where we're learning and growing in the Word. Sundays, we listen to our sermons in our churches, or I'll share a church, or you could go online. I'll also share other pastors for you, and you can listen to them. But I'm encouraging you to take sermon notes. You can look at everybody else's sermon notes over on our community group page. Also, Saturday's a day designated for you to learn to journal. My whole entire YouTube channel will teach you about journaling, writing visions, believing that God has called you to a bigger destiny no matter what your roadblock is. So I will use journal prompts all through your study week and teach you what to journal on whatever verse or whatever theme or topic we're studying about. Monday through Thursday, I am just teaching you whatever word is in our calendar. Here's our calendar right here. You can see Sunday is sermon. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're doing, I'm on with a daily devotional, or I'm giving you a Bible study with a PDF printout. You can click it too if you can't print it out, and you can read the Bible study and do the work on your own. So I kind of do different types of things for ladies based on what you really prefer. And then, of course, on Thursday night, I'm sending out a newsletter. So please be subscribed to heatherbaxter.com. Here's my website. Newsletter comes out Thursday night. Sometimes you'll get it early Friday morning. And that has the notes for our Friday live study. The Friday live study is usually on topics. I know that this Friday it's going to be called It Is Well With Your Soul. And we're going to be talking about a lesson for 1 hour. I'm encouraging you to take those notes and put them in your war binder. Build up a war binder based on topics. You know, you can build a recipe book the same way by learning God's truth. You could make a tab on truth, a tab on trust, a tab on self-control, a tab on forgiveness, whatever it is. Praying for your marriage, praying for your kids. I can come up with a million topics in the Bible, but I want you to be able to find those and locate them quickly when you need them. So I teach you here on this channel how to actually make a war binder, how to develop one. Again, I've showed you many of mine. Here is another one of mine, and I'm going to kind of, when we get closer to January for the new year, I set up a new war binder. I always change up my systems, but this is one of my absolute favorites, and I'm going to be going back to this, I think. But each one of these are notes and just different things that I've studied, and really kind of put in topics and then made prayers out of it. And they're little notebooks that I've made, and then a calendar that I usually put all of our dates and what verses we're studying. So I love carrying this around because I can change out the books. It's a traveler's notebook and easily update it. So I do that, but then I also use a binder in the printouts that I send you. I have a file cabinet, but you could have a file cabinet or a binder, and you can basically file according to the topic. So that's a little bit about this channel. If you're new, come on the journey with us. Come on the faith journey. Subscribe today. And I promise that you'll be blessed. So for everybody that is a lifer and that is part of this, let's get into today's study. So today's verse, and I'm sorry for the little bit of the typo that was on there, is going to come to you out of Revelations 21:4-5. Now I think on the calendar on the website it says 21:45. And I forgot the dash. So that is how we all kind of got a little bit mixed up. So Revelations 21:4-5, I'll read that in a second. And the other one is Psalms 40. 43. So what I'm going to teach today is a little bit about how Satan's using 5 certain roadblocks during the quarantine. And then I'm going to end with bringing you hope with these 2 verses, because in spite of everything that we're going through, in spite of everything that we might go back through, as they're saying in the media, the Lord's always going to put a new song in your mouth. The Lord is always going to help you see other things versus fear. So I just want to make it very, very clear what the enemy's doing, and then I'm going to show you how you need to trust in the Lord. Amen, sisters? All right, so let's go ahead and let's read Revelations 21, 4-5. And it says, "He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more. For the former things have passed away." The former things have passed away. And he who was seated on the throne said, "Behold, I am making all things new." Now, we talked about this whole thing last week about God is doing a new thing. And we used Isaiah 43. And we talked about that. And it goes on and says, "Also he said, write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true." Revelations 21, 4-5, the ESV version. Now, the other one is Psalms 43. I absolutely love this song. Psalms 40, verse 3. And it is, "He puts a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord." Man, you could do a radical Bible study just on these 2 verses. Honestly, if you're up to it, you could do a watch party on today's lesson that I'm teaching you right now. You can have ladies write down Psalm 40, 40 verse 3, and then you can have ladies begin to start with Revelations 21, 4-5. Have them write that down, and then go ahead and talk about these 5 things of how the enemy is using these roadblocks, these stumbling blocks during the pandemic. Make them aware, and then talk about them a little bit, where they're struggling a little bit, maybe write some prayer requests, and then come back to where we're finding the ridiculous, generous amount of hope, and that is in his word. And maybe settle in his word right here, and know the miracle working power of God, regardless of what is going on and how the enemy is honestly trying to block the presence of God and use sneaky stumbling blocks. What a great Bible study. So let me go ahead, and if you want to do that, I'm going to use this little bit of time right now for teaching, and we're going to go ahead and write down number 1. Number 1 is the enemy is trying to grasp control. Now, in the 2 verses that we just read, we can see that the Lord is in control of everything. He's seated on the throne and he's in control. He's aware of everything. But yet we're in this place where we are trying to function, okay, today with a lot of unknowns. And if you are a type A person, okay, one that has all your events in the calendar, you've had your vacations scheduled, right? Your plane trips, everything. And now you have to deal with this, where we can't even plan a trip. And sometimes that can be frustrating. You feel like you have no control over your even personal life, your fun life, your vacation life. Maybe it's your work life. Maybe it is setting appointments with your children, your children's school life. Everything cannot be strategically planned anymore. What about the person that is more like flying out of the seat of their pants type personality? Like, whatever happens, you're being forced to figure out when you're going to order your groceries and when those groceries are going to come in, and when is like the time that it's not the busiest. When are things not sold out of? I know I had to learn when Target was delivering all of their paperware, and I was figuring out 8 a.m. Saturday morning, and I'm going to get toilet paper. Yeah, I had to figure that out, because if I needed toilet paper, I just kind of ran and didn't have to worry about it. I just would find it. And now I'm compulsively checking websites on where I can find Lysol or disinfecting wipes or whatever. There's just no clarity on when something's going to be in, let alone clarity on our future. So I feel like there's a grasp for control. How do you feel about that? Think about that right now. Are you struggling with the grasp of control? Are you one that creates a colorful flow chart for how your week goes? Now, I know for me, if you watch some of my planner videos, I am one that likes to plan. I do like my to-do list. I like to brain dump. I love to brain dump everything that's piling up, that's causing anxiety, put it down on paper and see what I can actually finish in the amount of time I have for that day or that week, or maybe just for that hour. So I'm constantly brain dumping and looking at what I can do. So that like removes a lot of frustration and a lot of scramble for me. And it just helps. But anyway, the point I want you to realize for this, the antidote is that God is your refuge. No matter what, God is your refuge. God is always in control. The verses that we're looking at today remind us. Also, I want you to look at Psalm 91:4. 91:4, it says, He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. Amen? That's so good. His faithfulness will be your shield and your rampart. So the next thing is judging others. I have to bring this one up because I think we're struggling with this, and the enemy is using this right now. Huge. Quarantine began a lot with like blog posts popping up and people sharing their views on it and all of that kind of stuff. We were really talking about, appropriate social distancing and who's wearing a mask, who doesn't wear a mask, how are you doing it? Are you really involved in the 6 feet apart? And you would find that you would either get people rolling their eyes at you if you weren't wearing your mask before it was a government ordinance. You kind of got to do what you want a little bit. People were judging based on what you were doing and how you were handling the safety standards. And everybody's idea of safety standards, everybody has their own definition and their own way of viewing it. I really have found that. And so what we're doing is we are quickly being rude to those that don't agree with how you are handling it. My mom and I struggle a little bit. Yes, my mom's older and I want her to feel safe during the pandemic, but there's just funny things that she does to go about it. And there's funny things she feels that I don't do. That I should be doing. And so we end up judging each other, and it causes us to be just stirred up or like irritated with each other. And there's no reason for that. Honestly, it's like the enemy's getting in there and just trying to make us ignorant toward each other, which is rude. It's irresponsible, and it's not justifying our true relationship. So think about that. Do you feel it's hard right now as you're treading these new waters? It's a weird thing. The world changed really quick for us. And so now we have kids that are going to be going back to school, and some of the rules, if the school's open, are wearing the mask full time. I think there's going to be a lot of judgment going on. But here's what we need to remember. Jesus is full of humility. Humility. Here's a verse, Philippians 2:7-8. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, and being found in the appearance as a man. He humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on the cross. So what we're doing here is we're seeking to bolster ourselves, which is not humble, that's not showing humility, by condemning others in a turmoiled situation. And people are doing that. It's a strange season, period. Let's be humble and let's be kind. I think it's a constant reminder that we need to have right now. It's sad, but we do, and the enemy's using it. On the other side of judgment is shame. And would you agree with that? Because maybe you're looking at a friend and you're thinking, wow, that person's handling this so much better than I am. Or, wow, that person doesn't seem overwhelmed by daily tasks or going to the store or whatever, and they're kind of judging me, but now I'm feeling shame. Interesting, right? How the enemy turns that all on you, and then you start feeling like you have a problem and the way that you're handling it, because the pictures in your mind are changing based on the way you see somebody else handling this strange season. And so the enemy goes and takes it and creates deception, whispers weaknesses and lies to us, and tells us, that we're just kind of messed up. We need to be more like this person. Well, let me share something that's opposite. God delights in you regardless. Amen. He's wired us all differently, and he's also teaching us all differently. He has his own agenda. So when these feelings creep up, know right away that they do not come from God. They do not come from God. Do not feel shamed. Lift that weight of shame and know that God is delighting in you, how you're handling it, how you're working through it, how you're praying through it, how every day is a new day and you're learning to let go of it and allow God to help you control what you can control. Everybody is different, and everybody's in a different season of life. So regardless of how you are weathering this pandemic, the key bottom line is we are all in a different season of life. And regardless, don't let the enemy smolder your light, because it's what he wants to do. Stay where you are, handle it the way you are, because you're a witness to somebody, no matter how you're handling it. So don't look at your sister and go, wish I could be like her, because that's just a stumbling block from the enemy. All right, let's talk about number 4, and that's indulgence. Now, this is a good one. Think about everybody's weekly screen time, or perhaps the children's screen time since this whole pandemic has started. I was just with a friend that was watching her grandchildren, and she is coming up with new ideas herself as a grandma to keep the indulgence of screen time down for her grandchildren. She just said it seems like the stresses of quarantine are just pushing everybody to the place of screen time. I mean, honestly, I love TikTok. Okay, I love TikTok. But I will watch some of those and think, wow, you have a lot of time on your hands. I just watched one yesterday of a lady that had like some rope tied around her, and then she had 5 laundry baskets, and each laundry basket was one of her pet with a little bit of string in between, and she was acting like a train and just kind of went around. And we're all making videos now. We're all indulging in this, and there's no problem with a little bit of fun. Of course, I need to do fun things like that to humor myself. But what I found is I cannot lay in bed for 2 hours and indulge in that to relieve stress. A little bit is great. And I thank the lady that made that little choo-choo train out of baskets. I'm thinking, wow, she had the time, but she had the time to also make me laugh. And I can't shame her or judge her, because that might have just brought her a little bit of stress relief for the day, and she might have had a really great schedule. So who knows? But we need to be careful. Our television and anything that could be distracting you from really dealing with your real emotions and allowing God to grow you through it. So here's another thought then. How would God want us to handle it? He would want us to share our burdens. He would want us to share our burdens. And let's look at Hebrews 12:1, and it says, while it may feel as though you are isolated and unseen in your sin, be encouraged and strengthened by this reminder that you actually are not. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witness, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles us. And so this is just a reminder to be bold in the areas of your struggle. It's okay. Don't hide and indulge in other things. Don't let sin thrive in an environment that's unhealthy, that's keeping your emotions hidden. Go to that place as a trusted believer where you can believe in God's promises. You can come to a place and be transformed by hope. Use social media for God's glory and keep it, maybe set a timer or something, or just be aware of it, that it can really suck us in at this time and not be really helping us to lean into Him or lean into other healthy things. Where do you feel like maybe you're overindulging? For me, for a while, I was overindulging in cooking. I love to cook. I love to eat. And I was like, wow, I'm really indulging in this more than normal. And when I put on my nice pandemic pounds, plus I was just coming out of a major foot surgery, so I was already off my foot for almost 6 months, I easily put on 20 pounds. Now, I don't need anybody to shame me or judge me for that. And I'm sure some of the closest ones to me, I come from a very bold and direct family. If you've gained a few pounds, they're going to let you know. That's just how it rolls. And I've learned really to not let that bother me. It's taken many, many, many years. But I have learned to share my burdens with my loved ones or those closest to me. And I've also learned, remember when we were talking about shame, I've also learned that God delights in me no matter what. And so for me, I had to really get back. I had to get back to the grind. I'm on my Peloton now. I'm watching everything I eat. I still enjoy, but I'm being careful. I'm not overindulging. For a while there, I was just overindulging. It was crazy. And I'm not allowing the enemy to take my self-control from me. So that's just something in my personal life. But again, if you're doing this in a small group or you're deciding to, maybe talk about areas where you're overindulging because you don't want to deal with your burdens. And that does happen. Okay, and let's go to the very last one that I have written down here, and that's misplaced anger. Misplaced anger. Anger in one another in the last month more than ever, in my city, in my state, in some stores. It's just terrible. I mean, the reality of the disease and the broken downness of our world already in itself is a byproduct of sin. Okay, that's just, we have to understand that. And now we're living in the world, and in this world we're going to have tribulation, and Satan is at work. How do we step out and not get angry at one another, but still realize, people are angry at the government right now. People are angry at how individuals are handling the pandemic right now. People are angry at so much that they're trying to sink each other's ships right out in the streets. And I think these frequent agitations are really catching up with everybody around us. We're starting to feel it in the environment. We're feeling it in stores. We're seeing stores even slow down with customers in fear of what somebody's going to do. Because I honestly, you turn the news on, somebody got in a fight with somebody about wearing a mask recently. It's just crazy. So what would God do in this situation? Have you been angry? Have you witnessed angry things? What's going on in your state? Is there riots and chaos there that is just out of control? The antidote to this is understanding the Father's promise. And I want to read to you again, Revelations 21, 4-5, which was our key verse. Despite our lack of control or sin, because I'm seeing just sin everywhere. It rises up in me over the pandemic. It rises up in others. Everybody's handling things different. Despite our discouragement and our rhythms of anything normal being thrown off, so we have no control over that, which we talked about in the beginning. He is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I just want to be grounded in that during this strange season. Be really grounded in it. And so today's verse says, He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain. He who is seated on the throne said, I am making everything new. Wow, what a promise. I want to get outside of everything that's chaotic right now, and I want to be transformed by that hope. I need that. And then again, our other verse, which I'll turn here, that I have written down on our calendar, was in Psalms. And that was, He put a new song in my mouth. We need to be the new song for somebody that's angry. We need to be the new song for somebody that's in shame or somebody that's judging or whatever. We just have to have that new song in our mouth, that new song of praise. Praise wipes away fear. Praise wipes away shame. Praise wipes away anger. It can rise us back up to where we need to be. And you are not going to see fear as much. You're going to begin to see pockets of God's presence, pockets of God's love, pockets of God's mercy, and then it will help you trust in Him more. So today's was a little bit of a longer video. I just hope that this lifts you up just a little, because the whole part of today's verse was God's making everything new. We just cannot see it right now. And the enemy is using this whole time to create all those stumbling blocks that I said. So here are the 5 stumbling blocks again. Maybe discuss them in small group or do a watch party and talk about those 5 things. Make people aware of what the enemy is up to. And then talk about, after every single one, I gave you a verse to trump what the enemy's doing. And then tie it all up and remember that God is doing a new thing. He's going to be wiping away every tear. We have hope. He wants to put a new song in our life. And so, just kind of minister to each other, talk about it, and just do a little community group and see how that goes. If there's any help and you need any help and you want me to show up to one of your groups if you're going to do it, go ahead and DM me on Instagram and let me know. Maybe I'll show up to one of your watch parties and we can just kind of have a little bit of a live Bible study. The only reason I'm sharing this is I've noticed more ladies taking some of my little studies and doing watch parties with them, which I think is amazing. I think we're taking something that the enemy meant for good, like he was going to go and run with this. Oh, they're not meeting in churches. They're not having Bible studies anymore. And ladies are seeing something new God's putting in their spirit, and they're running with it. And it is amazing. They're bringing people that may have never went to church before. So, hey, I'm part of it. If I can meet in your schedule and you let me know ahead of time, do a watch party. It'll be fun. I would love to hang out with you. So if you ladies did this and you had a small group today over this, how awesome. Remember, the enemy is sneaky and he's going to make you stumble so he can tear down your marriage, your finances, whatever he can. He can tear down your energy and your destiny and excitement for God in this time. It is not over. God is up to something new. He wants to use you. He wants to put a new song in your life, and he wants you to trust him more than ever. And so be alert, stand on guard, watch, wait, and listen, and God is going to do something incredible in your life. So blessings, ladies. I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget, this Friday is our live study. It's going to be talking about it is well with my soul. So I love you guys. Blessings, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.